Hi, ladies. Welcome to
Hi,
the Mommy Hustle podcast. We're super excited to have you today.
Yes,
I'm
welcome,
happy to be here.
welcome.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a special guest. Okay, we're gonna have her introduce herself, but we wanted to just say we hope that all the ladies had a wonderful Mother's Day. It is May. It is also Mental Health Awareness Month, so we are bringing this episode to you to give you some goodness for. I mean, me and Ice was speaking. She said every day is Mental Health Awareness Day. Every day is, but this month give you a little extra. Okay. So we have
Also Women's Health Month. Also Women's Health.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
that's right.
That's at the top of the list, mental health. So we have Isis here. Okay, she's gonna introduce herself. She is a licensed therapist, doing her thing for decades, right? Behold agency, and not decades to say that she's old because we're not no spring chickens anymore either. But I just wanted to emphasize the skills, the experience, her making a change in the African American communities, any community, but really just being a resource for women, men, and people all around the world.
Yes, a
So
light, a
I
beacon for women. Yes.
yes, Isis, please introduce yourself. Let the ladies know a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, ladies, for inviting me. My name is Isis Reddick Umoja, and I have been a licensed mental health therapist for a very long time. I've been in this field for 29 years, the end of this year. I've been licensed for the past almost 20 years, and I'm licensed in the state of New Jersey, which is my initial licensure state. That's where I'm from, North Carolina, and Florida. Um, I have worked with almost every population you can imagine, substance abuse, the severely and persistently mentally ill, incarcerated men and women, individuals with depression, anxiety, trauma, children with trauma, families, groups,
Yeah.
individuals, you name it, and I've pretty much done it. I also supervise therapists who are starting out in the field. They have to be licensed by a state approved a state approved supervisor for 2 years. So I also supervise newly licensed therapists.
Yes, I love that, Isis. So really quick, because this is the podcast, right? And we are also aware of like trending topics and things about of that nature. When you said something about supervising people to get their license, I know
Mm-hmm.
right now there's like this big thing in the media around the importance of like showing up as a licensed therapist, right? Versus
Mm-hmm.
uh making it seem like coaching is therapy because there's this sad person that's out there that's been viral around the things that she's been sharing when it comes to broken families. And I feel like a lot of the information she has been sharing has been great information. But we know that now is like has come out that she's not even licensed. And the
Right.
school that she went to school with at is not even credited. How important is it for individuals? Now, I want to ask you this question and then we can get into like the icebreaker. But how
Okay.
important is it for individuals that are seeking therapy, seeking help with their mental health to work with someone who is accredited? Like I mean, coaching is great, right? I've experienced in coaching too. Like, how does one know when they are supposed to get a coach versus a therapist? And like when it comes to credentials, like how important is that when it comes to somebody seeking a therapist?
So that's a really good question. And I am very aware of all of the conversation that's taken place. And the way that I think people will hear what the licensed psychology community is saying is, would you go to a dentist who got a certification somewhere? Would you go to a gynecologist who went to school and got some knowledge and happens to have some skills in the gynecology field? That to me is an example that people can understand because no, you would not. You would not trust your physical body to someone who is claiming to have gone through the education and taken the test and got the proper licensures to be able to show themselves approved and capable to treat you in those ways. Yet when
Yeah.
it comes to mental health, we want to separate that from the body, which we know it is not, and act like, anybody who can give you a good piece of advice or tell you some good self-help tools is a therapist. And that's simply not true. I have been a certified life coach for the past 15 years or so. I don't practice as a life coach because my passion is therapy. And the main difference between the two, aside from the education, I want to say that first. In order to be a therapist, you have to do your 4 years of undergrad, go to graduate school, sit for a pretty difficult, all encompassing of your education test. You have to get a passing score on the test, and then you have to be supervised by someone who has been in the field for a number of years. So they've shown themselves as being knowledgeable and skillful and capable of helping you to be an evidence-based professional. And so when people want to skip those steps, then basically what you're doing is posing a threat to mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Being a mental health professional is more than telling people what to do. In fact, we don't tell people what to do. You ask the difference between coaching and therapy. Well, that's one of the things. As a coach, you help people to accomplish specific goals, and you do hold them accountable and give them feedback about what they need to do to accomplish the specific goal. It's like having someone walk alongside of you. So say, for example, you want to lose 50 pounds and you want support around that. A life coach would be someone who can come alongside of you and find out what your goals are and help you to accomplish them, hold you accountable. They don't have to be licensed, credentialed, any of that. There is no real credentialing board when it comes to life coaching. You can get a certification and go ahead and start practicing.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a therapist, you go through that rigorous process that I just mentioned to show yourself approved as having the knowledge and skills to help people heal.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying a little while ago, the mind is not separate from the body. So when you treat it as if it's not as important, you put everybody in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you have a mental health condition, you know how it affects every aspect of your being. So it is very important that people seek out individuals who are licensed. And I also just want to add this little tidbit about that. Having a PhD is not the same as being licensed. Many moons ago, I completed all of my PhD coursework. When you do your PhD, there's something called a dissertation. That's your body of research that takes you from being a PhD candidate to being a doctor. But that kind of doctor can't go and do therapy. My PhD coursework is in psychology. If I had that alone and no license, guess what? I can't do therapy. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. You have to have a license to do therapy. A
Yeah.
PhD is an academic degree.
Yeah.
It means I've studied this thing and I can tell you some stuff about it and I can do research, and there's a place for that, but it's not in clinical practice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that distinction. Thank you for that distinction.
You're
Because I think it's really important. I know a lot of people may have not experienced a life coach, right, or experienced therapy yet. And we want more people to pour into that, like making sure they pour into their mindset and mental health. So we don't want to discourage you guys to not do that, but also just do it the
right.
right way, right? Do it the right way and make it got to make sense. It has to make sense. And the person that you're doing therapy with has to be licensed, guys. Okay.
Yes. And the way that I tell people, if I see you for therapy and I think that you need a life coach, because we're not helping you to heal and digging into your past and childhood and doing those kinds of things, then I recommend life coaching rather than therapy. So I'm a proponent of it, but let's do it right.
Yeah, second that. Yes. Okay. So yeah, thank you for explaining that, Isis. So speaking of that, we're going to get into a great conversation about mental health and how the importance. I love how you explained. You compared it to it's a doctor first off, but you compared it to like a surgeon. Like you want to make sure that you have the right person. That's important, and it's important to make sure we're even having these conversations centralized around the importance of therapy or you being in therapy. But let's start with the icebreaker first, okay?
Okay.
So this is just gonna be something fun. I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and you can give one answer response, or you can tell a story, whatever you like. Okay, so what's the one thing that you've been doing lately to protect your own peace? I know your mom, right? Your mom, you're a mompreneur. She's a business owner. She owns an agency. So there's a lot of it can be chaotic, right? But just I'll let you
Yes.
answer the question.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I didn't know that you were going to pull something out of me. But what I've been doing is protecting my boundaries. So people who know me know that I came into this field from early young adult, late teen activism work. And so my mindset was I'm for the people. Like I am going to be available. And I took that into my work. Um, I am unorthodox in the way I do things. I'm very aware of what it means to be ethical and professional, but I'm also aware, especially of the fact that in Black and Brown communities, relationship is important. I'm also aware of the fact that therapy is a 53-minute plus session, and things happen outside of that. And I intentionally started out in the field being available. People know I have people who work with me who will shoot me a text, and not only if it's an emergency, but they'll shoot me a text because they need to get something off their chest, and it's like pinning it for the next session. All of that. Well, being married and having children, I continued that practice, and in very recent years, I found that it no longer served me. I'm obviously older. My life has changed a great deal, and so it became necessary across the board to put boundaries in place where, to some things, it's just no.
Yeah.
And it's not no for any reason other than I need the time to be spent doing something for myself, doing nothing,
Yeah.
or just being, and
Yeah.
that is more than okay. And so, yeah, being comfortable with no longer being for the people in the way that I always have been in the past.
Oh man, those boundaries.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
what I've been saying lately, and I know this is probably not the best example of like setting the boundary, but I just be like, no, because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And I think for me, that I don't feel like it is an important addition because of just the lack of boundaries that I did have and the way that I was maneuvering around those lack of boundaries. So that I don't feel like it is like a this you know this is serious. Like I'm not playing with it,
Yes.
right? But I do want to be mindful of that because I know I have kids watching me, right? And we just can't say no just because we don't feel like it, right? We got to do a lot of things that we don't feel like
Yeah.
doing. So I'm working
Mm-hmm.
on like the wording for that, but I'm in a place where I'm saying no because I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am
And
okay with it.
Dwayna, that was um, one of the ways in which it started. However, to your point, I've always been about my children. I have two daughters, 22 and 18. I've always been there for them first and foremost. Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever pertained to them came
Mm-hmm.
first. Well, what it created was this enmeshment, right? And so my daughters, especially the 22-year-old who graduated college last Saturday,
Yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. She is very clear that like you're my bestie and I want you to go everywhere and do all the things with me. And
Mhm.
so when she was about literally 17, 18, I would constantly find myself when I wasn't working or doing something I had to do, let's go, mom. Let's go to the mall. Let's go to this. And so the first place where I set boundaries was with her and her sister and saying no. And
Mhm.
Dwayne, what I would say is because what would follow is, well, why not? You're not
Mhm.
doing anything. I don't want to. And I was very intentional with the I don't want to because I need to shut it down.
Uh-huh.
They saw me lounging on the long side of the couch and they're like, you're not doing anything. Why
Uh-huh.
can't you come? I just don't want to. And then it would be like,
Uh-huh.
really, mom? And really, and I would go right back to whatever I was doing.
I'm telling you.
And that got the message across. So I hear you, but the boys will grow up and they will be able to understand it's okay for you to just not want to.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes. Okay. Love that. The boundaries. Okay. So, okay. Coffee, quiet time, therapy. I know you're a therapist, but I'm sure you also get therapy sometimes as well.
Yes.
A Target run or a nap. What instantly resets you?
Coffee. What was the second thing, Donna?
Coffee, quiet time, a good therapy session, or a Target run?
Quiet time.
Quiet
It
time.
it would have definitely been a Target run before, but I really value quiet time. Yeah.
Yes, I was
Mm-hmm.
literally was I talking. I think my mom I was talking to my mom about this. Like I've just been like I've been having like long drives for like projects, and I'm like I've been like
Silence.
driving in silence.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just
Yes, and
like
I'm a headbanger in the car, but no, 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 no. I just want to ride.
Yeah.
yes, and it's like even if I'm not like listening to music, I'll be like wanting to catch up on calls. It's like lately it's like I'll take care of that later. Like
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'll understand that. Okay, one last one. Okay, what's one word that describes your current season of life?
Me time. I know that's two words, but that's what it is. Me
Okay.
time.
Mhm.
And do you think that's because you're about to be an empty nester completely, or
I think that is a part of it. I think it was a natural progression of things. I am fairly newly divorced, so I am 3 years almost from being divorced, and I get married again in September. Spun the block a little bit, my very first boyfriend ever. But I think that it is because I've really given a lot. Like when I said
Mhm.
for the people, that turned into for the girls, and then for my marriage, and then it's just always
Yeah,
for other people. And now I'm really feeling like I'm ready for it to be more me time.
yeah. Me time
Mhm.
is the goal. Self care, it's all that good stuff.
Yes.
Um, okay, so we've talked about a lot so far, and we just got done with the icebreakers. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so we already know the rest of this conversation is going to be amazing, and we probably could sit here and talk for hours. But Isis, I know you kind of explained like your background and who you are today, but like what actually like what got you to be this young activist? You mentioned like you were your activist at a very young age. What do you
Mhm.
think like shaped your story to today to be the great therapist that you are today? What got you started with even wanting to know that that's what you wanted to do?
Mhm.
Cool.
Like,
So,
was there a moment that you was just like, oh, I'm supposed to be a therapist?
Yeah.
mm, oh, you guys are good. So, growing up, I grew up in Jersey, and I grew up in inner city Jersey, North Jersey, East Orange High, but I'm in Irvington, New Jersey, which is right next to Newark. So we're talking
Yes.
inner city
Yeah.
girl.
Uh-huh.
And very early on, I have no idea what sparked it, but I started my first Black organization when I was in high school. And the interesting thing about that is the high school, the area, all of that was
Mhm.
predominantly Black and then brown mixed in. So there was some things that I was seeing that made me think that there needed to be some education and coming together, like in a unity kind of way. And so that continued on to undergrad, and from undergrad, doing, um, being head of Black student organization,
Mhm.
carrying on my own Black organization that focused on um, Black history and unity
Mhm.
among Black people. How do we get from where we are to where we need to be as a culture,
Mhm.
um, as an ethnicity? I would say as a race, but I have my thoughts on all that. But yeah, as a people, I'll say. And so I ended up doing grassroots organizing, and that went on all the way um, until I had my first child, and it was just innate that I would continue to go on to do something that would be a benefit to Black and brown people.
Mhm.
Um, but why I ended up being a therapist is fresh out of undergrad, and this is why I have 29 years of experience, because straight out of undergrad, I started doing substance abuse counseling.
Mhm.
And that was with an undergrad degree in sociology and an undergrad degree in criminal justice. So I thought, I knew society's role in creating some of the issues within the Black
Mhm.
and brown community. When I became a substance abuse counselor, and I did that for almost 5 years, second year in, I was like, wait a minute, I need to know what is going on beyond external factors that would cause the things that I'm seeing happening to happen. Like, we have some serious things going on when people are um, doing the things that they're doing and addicted to drugs in this way that it is completely all consuming, and it's causing the complete um, destruction of communities. And
Yeah.
so that's when I decided I wanted to delve deeper, and I went to grad school for psychology.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, so I love that too, because a lot of um millennials that are our age as well, like we went to school and it's like we're not actually doing the thing that we went to school for, right? There are
Mhm.
people who are, but there's a huge
Huge number of us.
larger number of people who are doing something different, who have to pivot, and you are always known that this is something that was true to you, but there was like a point in time where you were like, okay, I want to do this. I know I want to do this. I want to be a change, but let me pivot and figure out the psychology behind why people even choose to show up and create those lives for themselves. I love
Mhm.
Isis, so if I'm hearing this correctly, the main reasoning behind you doing therapy is because you wanted to uplift the Black community? Is it because you wanted to pour into the mental health of the Black community?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
that was seriously it. I also, early on, when I started on the mental health end of things, again, inner city, predominantly Black and brown community, what I saw was a lot of misdiagnosing, just professionals who did not understand what they were seeing. They weren't competent with different cultures. They were not aware of the factors that present as being abnormal to some, as being completely a part of the experience when living in those communities. So they were grossly misdiagnosing people,
Mm-hmm.
not taking into account anything other than what their training taught them. And that largely was based on research that was done with non-Black and brown people. And so
Mm-hmm.
I then became really passionate that I am going to be that therapist who, I don't care if you have insurance, I don't care if you have state insurance, because there was a lot of discrepancy in the services that people who didn't have insurance, people who had state insurance versus people who had commercial insurance, the quality of care they were getting. So I was like, I'm going to be that therapist who is going to treat everyone with the same level of quality, and make sure that we are making mental wellness a thing in our community. And that
Yeah.
that will alleviate a lot of the ills that we see.
Yeah, I love that because I actually have like intentional kind of conversation with like my husband or my friends, my family, and we talk about like how um like the substance abuse thing. We know that like culturally that was like placed in black neighborhoods, like to break up the black family, right? Because black families was elevating and growing and they needed to dismantle it somehow. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that like you grew up in that era to where it's like this is happening, this is not right, and I want to help my people. I love that because I would think like you was like the person that people always came to talk to, or you were like but so I love how it's like, no, I want to help my black community. Like these are things that's happening. This is how the society is set up for us, and this they're not going to break us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love
Absolutely.
that. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that when I think about it, I'm like my mother's era, I like they was affected a lot by substance abuse. That was
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
60s,
in North New
70s,
Jersey, Orange, Irvington.
in North New Jersey. Yes.
Yes. Um, it's so interesting that you mentioned that because on a deeper level, and I'm not trying to take it there, but it just is what it is. My immediate family was affected a great deal by substance abuse. And I mean my siblings, all of my all of my siblings were really affected by it. None of them are alive anymore due to just the ills that come with substance abuse and being,
Mhm.
being in the streets and dealing with those things that come with that lifestyle. So that could have unconsciously played a part
Mhm.
because I didn't live in the house with them. They were older and I didn't live in the house with them. So it was in a graduate school class, substance abuse class, that I had like this aha moment and realized that I had been personally affected by it because
Mhm.
I didn't live in a household with them. And in fact, they were not allowed to be around at that point when I was growing up. I didn't even realize, like, wait a minute, I'm personally affected, like within my family by this. And sitting in a class one day, it hit me and I was like, oh, wow,
Mhm.
that right there could be a really good reason for me coming into this field, but it really wasn't consciously so. So
Mhm.
maybe that's at a younger age, like me hearing things and seeing things, like when I would be around them, or the fact that I couldn't be around them, maybe that's what propelled me to take that path, but I don't
Yeah.
remember that being it.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're welcome.
Okay, so let's talk mental loads. We've been talking about mental loads, kind of already summing up everything that we that we've talked about so far. But let's talk about the mental load of motherhood. Right? There's so many layers to this conversation in the first place.
Yes.
But I think too now in 2026 we have more moms, more women who are expressing like what they actually go through, the experience of motherhood versus just the butterflies and rainbows, right? I think
Yeah.
social media has been a big help with that. Like people just sharing like the nitty gritty of motherhood, like all that comes with it. Yes, it's beautiful, but it's also like, chaotic,
Very
right?
much so. Yes,
Hmm.
so.
Yeah.
So what are some first off, how do moms even know that they're carrying too much? Like what are some signs that they even know, okay, like I need to go talk to somebody, I need to seek therapy, I need to do some yoga. It's something, anything dealing with mental wellness, um, from your experience.
Okay. We can go all the way back, and I'm thinking about someone specific right now who I work with, who is pregnant and a professional, who is the head of household, single mom with 2 children, and now pregnant, going through a lot of the hormonal and physical difficulties that many women experience, and just trying to get this child in the world, and carry this child and continue to maintain for the family. So it can start as early as pregnancy. And I do want to add this, though, not just for the woman who is a single mom, who is approaching motherhood as a single mom, because many people with a spouse still struggle because they're expected to carry on as usual.
Yeah.
Our society is so jaded by what's really going on during pregnancy. Women are bringing life into the world. They're carrying another human being in their bodies for 10 months and expected to not miss a beat. Go to work, keep the house, continue to be, the sexy wife in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And, have the child after maybe a couple of weeks of having support, if that, carry on when you now have this life that is dependent on you in a way that they're not dependent on anybody else. Many, for food, if you're blessed to be able to breastfeed, and I do think that, that's something that is extraordinary, because not all women can do it. And it's aside from the women who may not want to do it, but you're feeding them, you're being the one to nurture them. You're up at night, you're at their beck and call, and still sleep deprived, and still just keep on going. And none of that even takes into account hormonally what's going on
with your body.
And I said, wait, don't. That's just for the normal pregnancies, not even the women that have difficult pregnancies, right?
Yes.
High risk, right.
Exactly. Like the woman who I was thinking about, who, again, another topic for another day that you all may cover, is just the disparity in women's health. I mean, nobody cares. You're a woman.
Yeah.
Oh well, this is what it is, Maybe if you take this, it'll help. But basically, it's woman stuff.
Yeah.
Deal with
it. Not only that part of it, but then you have to worry about being a Black woman and just the mental load that comes along with even getting the right medical attention and the right medical staff to even help you deliver a baby safely.
Yes.
That, so it's so much to it.
It is. It is. I was just gonna say, Donna's sidebar. I mean, not that this is anything new, but in recent years, we have been hearing about actual cases of Black women who are being basically mistreated and turned away, and having all sorts of complications, including their children not even making it into the world because they're dismissed by the medical community. So there is a lot of that takes place as well. So it's complex.
Yes. Okay. So it starts at pregnancy. You guys have heard that, right? The mental load can start there. And I know for me, it felt like burnout, right? It felt like I couldn't get a break. I'm needed a break, exhausted, depleted. And I feel like I'm still actually coming out of that season, right? Like Josiah is about to be 3 here in June. And talk about that 2-year postpartum, what you go through. And then I just stopped breastfeeding in January. So it's like the hormonal stuff, like all of
Mhm.
that. So I'm like still on the fatigue side, right, with the sleep. I can't sleep, like still trying to figure that part out. So I think when you know that you're carrying a high mental load, ladies, you just gotta listen to your body because your body will tell you. Because mom been telling me, it tells me every time where definitely when I'm like fully depleted. So
But
Absolutely.
so so sidebar though, what about the women like me who are overfunctioners and maybe don't even know that they their mind is telling them to keep going. Their body may be saying, huh?
your body is saying, your body.
I mean, no, because I think your body does say it, right? But
Mhm.
me, because my mind, like, I may feel tired, but my mind is saying, no, you got this. You can keep going. So it's
Ooh.
like, it may be just like, oh, I'm just a little bit depleted, or I get a nap in. And it's like, no, sis, you
Mm.
need to sit down for the next 3 months type of
Ye-
rest, right?
Yes. That's mental and emotional,
Hmm.
Dwayna. And I also want to go back to what Donna was saying about another thing again that may be beyond the scope of what we're talking about right now, but you mentioned um, discontinuing breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm.
There are several women I know who were not prepared for the emotional toll that
Mm-hmm.
that took on them, and
Yeah.
they were embarrassed. They felt guilty. What
Mm-hmm.
is wrong with me? What's wrong with you? You have been the source and supply of your child's nutrients for all of this time. And there's a closeness and a bond that's been created around that. And
Mm-hmm.
now that's being taken away.
Yeah.
That's another thing that doesn't get talked about, but it's all emotional. For the high achiever, as well as, those who just
Mm-hmm.
recognize that I can't do it and don't do it. And we can talk about, if you want, from a mental health standpoint, what they both may be dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
so, so high achieving. The A lot of times the women who I see who are high achieving, and we're talking about motherhood right now, but it stands to reason that this also happens with a lot of women who are in high power positions.
Mm-hmm.
I see an increased amount of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
in those women because talking about the body, letting you know when you need to stop. Well, see, perfectionism and high performance, that reward that comes from high performance will keep you going even when you know, like, this is not sustainable, this is not realistic. You can't stop because now there's this fear of what will happen if I stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's this concern that if I stop, things are gonna fall apart.
Hmm.
So Wayna, I want to ask you specifically, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
do you or have you seen anxiety associated with that need to keep going and
Absolutely,
perform? Yeah.
1000%. 1000%. I would say, and I'm just realizing, like, so I've already known that I've struggled with anxiety, but this past year I realized that Dwayne, you're an overfunctioner because I've overfunctioned from habit. It's like this is habit to me. This is normal. This is
Yeah.
normal.
Mhm.
But with now having the 3-year old, the 9-year old, life getting busier, I'm trying to get back in the groove of things. I'm like, hold up now. Girl, how you this ain't normal. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm getting older, right? We'll be 35. My body is responding to things differently. And now I can't,
Mhm.
I can't like push through the exhaustion like I used to. So it is anxiety tied to the over functioning, the high achieving for sure. And I feel like if I don't do the things like you just said,
Not gonna get
world's
done.
gonna fall apart. Like if I don't do it, like how am I gonna get back on my feet? How if I don't do
Mhm.
it, like what's going to happen to my kids? Like it's
Yes.
a lot. It's a lot for
Yeah.
sure.
And there's I also want to add this because we talk a lot about postpartum depression, but there's also postpartum anxiety.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And a lot of new moms experience that as well and start to doubt themselves and again wonder, what is wrong with me? Why am I so afraid of like things that are not likely going to happen? Why am I having these intrusive thoughts about, am I going to hurt my baby? Am I going to drop him? Am I going to forget him in a car? That's that postpartum anxiety that
Mm-hmm.
we oftentimes don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. And then also too for me with the anxiety, like the postpartum anxiety overachiever and stuff. Now that I'm like getting the rest I need, right? Getting the rest I need and trying not to overfunction on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's shattered my confidence. I'm not capable. I can't do this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I not like so it's like a double-edged sword
Mm-hmm.
because it's like not only am I experiencing anxiety, now it's like if I don't overfunction, now I'm not as confident as I used to be.
Yes, yes. That I hear that so much. And that's why you two having this forum and this conversation is so important, because new moms and women just feel like there's something wrong with them,
Mm-hmm.
that they're having these feelings and that they're having these thoughts. And I can't tell them enough, you are not alone. This is a
Mhm.
thing, and it's almost been made unsafe in the past to talk about, because you're a woman. You're a woman, aren't you? Isn't this what you were created to do? And
Mhm.
women back in the day, they didn't stop. They kept going. Yeah, the roles were very different back then. And women, the way women function and the way the family functioned and the way society um, dealt with things was so different back in the day.
Mhm.
Yeah, June Cleaver wasn't doing all of this. I'm telling you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And not that like and then also it's like and I was talking to my therapist. I'm like before I even hired her on as my therapist or before she hired me, we hired each other. I was just like I just can't believe y'all generation was out here just doing this and just suffering in silence. Like are y'all crazy?
Yeah,
Like
man.
and like you said, this is why me and Donna started the podcast in the community because it's like we have to talk about these things because y'all cannot have been suffering in silence like this. And I know one of the things God is telling me is to be meek, right? As far as like don't talk too much, but I'm talk. I'm talk. And I'm
Yes,
not gonna sit here and be silent about this. I am not. I'm
good.
like, this is we have to this is not normal. We have to start utilizing our voices. We have to make a change because women are becoming more successful. We are not
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
homemakers. We have ambitions. We have goals. We have dreams. We are doing the things. We are getting degrees. We're climbing the corporate
Mm-hmm.
ladders. It's not slowing down for us.
Yes.
And if we continue the way we're continuing, it's going to be more broken homes. It's going to be because a lot of married women are still
Yeah.
feeling like they are juggling it all. Okay, whether they
Yeah.
have,
Yes.
you know,
Absolutely.
so it's like because we are so ambitious and things, it's like I feel like the time is now to talk about it because we're only going to grow, right? And we are still in a place of growing as a black race anyway. So it's like we got a lot more work to do, and we don't want
Mm-hmm.
to hinder ourselves where we can't push through anything because black women are all suffering through mental health. Like it's just
Yes.
down the
Yeah.
drain.
Oh,
So
Mm-hmm.
that's so good.
yeah, I wanted to just definitely share that because I think too a lot of women who are goal driven and doing a lot of things are high achievers. They
Yeah.
over functioners and may not even realize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
but getting out of that those phases of burnout, I'm like in my I've experienced burnout quite a few times, but this last time it has taken me years to get out of.
Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it
And
adds.
you're not alone. You're
Mhm.
Yeah.
not alone. Mm-mm.
Yes, especially when you add those different layers to burnout, like grief and like it's just so much to it. Motherhood, life, like all the things. So, speaking of that, I says, what are some healthy coping strategies that you can give the listeners for even if you're? I mean, I feel like even if life isn't life for you, you still need coping strategies to get through life, right? Mindset matters. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are some tips you will give and strategies for the ladies, and, or or if you're a male listening to this, to put in place to cope.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
So Wayne was talking about, how women did it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There was this pressure to maintain the household and take care of the children and take care of your spouse and don't complain about it. So that perpetuated the issue because women were suffering in silence. There was a lot of shame and guilt around it. And so I think a lot of why it wasn't talked about is because of that shame and guilt and this pressure to just do it. As time has progressed, and yes, women, women have always been head of household. Like, that's not new. But going out and working and doing all the things, it just added to the plate, but nothing was taken off.
Right.
And so not staying quiet about it. Many women who I work with have spouses and still suffer because they will not ask for help. I'm supposed to do this. So not being afraid to ask for help is one. Two, talking about it and seeking out support where you can get it. If you can't get it within your household or from your spouse, going and finding support groups of women who will support you through it. The other is taking the cape off and burning it.
Burning it.
Burn the cape. Listen, I had to, and this happens all the time, but last week, in a session, I had to convince a mom who's also a career woman, who's also a wife, that it was okay to not cook dinner when she came in late and was exhausted. What do you mean I have to? Let's talk about some options. Yes, exactly. You can adjust. You do not have to meet all of these expectations all the time. In fact, if it's between ordering your family a meal, if you can do that, versus doing something for yourself. Well, let me put it the other way. Making a meal for your family versus taking time for yourself. Order something and take the time for yourself. It's so important. This idea of filling up your own cup is so underrated. It's more than just a saying. How do you keep going with no fuel? Take the time. Another thing, I have a good number of stay-at-home mothers who have been guilted into thinking that they're living the life. They're living the life. What do you need a break for? You get a break all day. Let me tell you something. You couldn't pay me enough to stay at home. So I love my children, and I've always worked for myself or in situations where I've been able to be available to them, to practically live at their school and do all the things with them. It was exhausting. You have got to be kidding me. I've never worked so hard as the weeks that they were on break. How dare you think that this is not work? Being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job that doesn't end. It's not a 9 to 5. It's
24/7.
Exactly. So those moms will not take a break either. I have one whose husband has said, okay, go to Starbucks and just stay, read a book, do whatever. On this particular night, I've got the kids. She feels too guilty to do it, but is exhausted. I'm like, if you don't get out of that house and go to if you don't go sitting wherever you want to sit and do nothing, if that's what you're inclined to do, take the break. So burn the cape. The other is, if you need assistance, and now I'm talking about something that's really, been stigmatized. If you need to see your doctor or medical professional to get supplements or even a prescription medication because you're struggling with your mental health, do that and get a therapist.
Yes. 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 Okay. So those are some good strategies. So I hope y'all are wind it back if you need to. Take some notes, write it down, and get to work. Okay. Isis, we can talk for hours. But I know we're getting to the tail end of our conversation. Duana, did you want to end it with another question for Isis, or should we just let the people know how they can learn more about her?
Oh, I'm a woman of many questions. So Isis, for the mom, the overachiever, the high functioner, um, what is a tip that you can leave us with today? And you probably already said it, but if you want to leave us with
Okay.
anything today when it comes to those category of women who may feel like they aren't necessarily clear on if they need to seek therapy or not, what would be that one piece of advice you would tell them, or one tidbit you would tell them to say, okay, if you are in these categories and you are experiencing this, I strongly suggest you seek therapy. Or if you are in these categories and you are experiencing this, I strongly suggest you seek life coaching. What would be that? I guess so. It's two things then. So let's start with the therapy for the mom that is not quite sure if she needs to seek therapy or not. How will she like? What would be something she's experiencing today? That you will be like, okay, no, you need a therapist, right? You need a therapist, and
Hmm.
how you go about doing that, finding the resource for that.
Okay. So first of all, therapy is self-care. Therapy is self-care. You do not need to be in crisis to seek
Mm-hmm.
therapy. For years, um, there were people who I saw same time, same day, every week, and there was no crisis. Things
Mm-hmm.
were going great and they wanted them to continue to go great.
Mm-hmm.
Or, or they wanted an unbiased person who they could say all the things to
Mm-hmm.
who they did not have in their lives. And so that's what I mean by therapy is self-care. When is it time that you need to seek a therapist? So we talked about anxiety. We didn't get into depression much, but I want to talk about what it looks like quickly. Yes, everyone gets sad. Yes, everyone worries sometimes and is nervous sometimes. Those things are a part of the human experience.
Yeah.
When that worry, that nervousness, that fear of worst case scenario or what might happen, feeling increased sadness and or increased irritability, low motivation, fatigue and lack of energy interferes with your ability to thrive, to do the things that you need to do or want to do in your life. It's time to seek a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
thing about depression and anxiety that is different from just those emotions that we all experience, the kind that we're talking about, is that it's debilitating and it interferes with you physiologically. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just mental, but physically, you feel like you can't do the things that you need to do,
Mm-hmm.
the things that you would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
You're exhausted, but not much has changed. You're going to sleep at night, you still wake up exhausted and you're struggling to function. You start
Mm-hmm.
to have intrusive thoughts that cause you to feel like you can't just live your life without that worry. That's time to seek therapy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you explained
And
the difference.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
because
get ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm glad you explained the difference because when Dwayne asked that question, I'm like, wait, therapy's for everybody. Like, no matter, all the
It is.
seasons. But
So,
no, I'm glad you explained like when you know that it's like co-red, like let's go get help.
and
Mm-hmm.
transparently speaking, I've been in code red and I've been in therapy, guys. So I've been a proponent. I've had life coaching, business coaching. I've loved it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've had business therapy sessions too, but sis, what Ice's name,
Yeah,
debilitating, can't get out of the mood. Can't,
yeah.
therapy, like now is the time. I
Mm-hmm.
realized, okay, hold up. It's been 2, 3, 4 weeks, and I'm saying the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Like, and I am getting rest. And I just can't shake this irritability. Like everything is making, I mean, my mood is off, and I'm like, okay, this is not
Mm-hmm.
therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Things that you once enjoyed, you don't even enjoy it anymore.
Hmm.
You're not going out with friends anymore. You're not interested in going to the gym if you enjoy going to the gym. Nothing seems to bring you a sense of joy or peace.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Therapy. Therapy.
Therapy.
And
Therapy.
and and as ISIS man, like therapy, I want also too, because like there's like the stigma on therapy. This is not the end all be all, okay? You are not
Yep.
crazy. Okay. And for people
Mm-mm.
that are married, couples
Yeah.
therapy, it is great for you.
Yes,
Actually,
I was
it's
literally
the most is the best thing you can do.
yes, I was
Yes.
speaking to
Yes.
somebody about therapy, and it was like a comment of like, no, I don't need that. I'm like, therapy's for healthy people.
Right.
Yes.
You go to therapy because you healthy, you want to stay healthy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
the
you
stigma is there for still, yeah, for sure. And
I wanna add, oh, I'm sorry, Donna. Finish
no
what you
worries.
were saying.
I was going to say, just for the especially for the older generations as well. I think the younger generations are starting to be more okay. And Isis, you can confirm that since
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I think like what is it, the baby boomers and all of them, and a little bit under the baby boomers. What is it, the Gen X, whatever that is? And I think you're in between.
Mm-hmm.
You're in between are you a millennial or Gen X?
Me,
Yes,
Gen X.
Gen X. Yeah. So you're like right at the top of the millennial. So yeah.
And that I think that began a time when, and again, I know I talk a lot about black and brown, and that's intentional because where a lot of these things are concerned, like taking care of yourself, and that includes your mental health, black and brown people are late
Yeah.
because when you're in survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
you're concerned with the things that you need, the basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this thing called this guy, Maslow. Maslow created, and he's one of the early theorists in psychology, created this hierarchy of needs, and it goes from the bottom up. And you have basic needs on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and it
I'm okay
goes
with that.
up to what's considered as self actualization. I
Mhm.
bring up Maslow's hierarchy because if you are low on that hierarchy and you are concerned with basic needs
Mm-hmm.
barely being met or trying to get them met, then
Mm-hmm.
things like your mental health are not a priority.
Yeah.
And so race and ethnicity does play a role in this stigmatization of it that you're talking about as well, Donna, because
Yeah.
others have gone to therapy. It at one time was considered privileged.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
a privilege to go and sit on someone's couch
Mm-hmm.
and, oh, let me tell you what happened this week.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, that's what my experience was like for a number of years when I
Mm-hmm.
first got to North Carolina because of the location where the practice was. A lot of that. Ooh, let me tell you what happened. Just all right, Isis, see you next week. And
Mhm.
it wasn't about crisis.
Uh-huh.
It was about wellness. And so
Yeah.
that's why a lot of times I will say mental wellness
Yeah.
instead of, mental health because it has that stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
It's about being well. And if you look at it like that, the same way you do going to get your nails done or going to get a
Yes.
massage, you will be able to get over that idea that I'm not crazy. No, you're not. And let's keep it that way. Although there is no real crazy. I want to put that out there. But let's keep you well. Go
Mm-hmm.
sit on somebody's couch and just talk about the things you can't talk about to anybody else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, this has been great. We're gonna need you back for part two. Okay.
I would love to because it's so important. This is important but all the things that stem from it that have come
Yeah.
up today, and what you ladies are doing is important. I'm so happy that you're doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
we're
joining
excited.
us.
We realized growing up in Jersey too, by way Jersey.
Yes,
Um,
that's right, Jersey girls.
we realized early on that we had this calling of community, right? And using our voices to bring people together. So we're
Yeah.
like, let's get back to it. Let's do it. And we've always been doing that, but it's like we want to make sure we push this forward and push this message on Mommy Hustle. So thank you, Isis, again for having us. Thank you, ladies and maybe gent or gents for listening. Share this with someone that you love. It's Mental Health Month, but every day is mental health awareness, mental wellness.
Yes, yes.
So thank you for joining us. And
Thank you for having me.
of
Yes,
course,
and guys, before we get off, make sure if you're listening to when you listen to this, do something today.
yeah,
Do something today to perfect your mental wellness. To,
Yes,
to get yourself to the other side. Whether and even if you don't feel like you're on a bad side, like Isa said, do something to pour into yourself today after listening to this podcast.
yeah.
yes. Thank you, ladies. Will do.
See
Have a great Friday, guys. Take care.
you guys on the next podcast. Thank you.